Issues.
After it all on your own there, huh?
And we are live and recording.
Great. Good. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the October 10th meeting of the Architectural Review Board. So I'll call the meeting to order and ask the staff to call the roll, if you would, please.
Chair Lavalley,
Here.
Council Liaison Nyan. Commission Liaison Cone,
Here.
Alternate Bertelsmeyer,
Here.
Member Mann, Vice Chair Jones, Member Parsons,
Here.
Secretary Ritter, and Alternate Ratterman.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
And because we don't have all of our regular members, the alternates are voting rights. Minutes of the September 12th meeting were distributed previously. We'll call for a motion to approve the minutes of the September 12th meeting. So moves to approve. In person, seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. So tonight for the agenda, we will simply have one presentation and discussion for a good news brewing. Any changes or additions that anyone has to the agenda? If not, we will proceed with asking for public comments. If there are any public comments on anything other than this, because we'll get into this particular thing. So that procedurally, there's not XE, so we now will go into old business. Is there any old business? There any? Not, we'll proceed into new business and we'll ask the staff to read in the case, if you would, please.
Okay, no problem. Give me just a moment. I'm promoting Member Ritter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I'm going to share screen. Okay, great, thanks.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and read that.
Please, thank you.
I'll let it get so. Mr. Ritter's clear. The item on tonight's agenda is Good News Brewing Company, 2603 West Avenue. An initial review of a new microbrewery being planned for Town Center, which will be adaptively reusing the existing commercial building in that location with the addition of some new accessory structures and improvements, all to be located upon a property adjacent to Wildwood's historic Route 66 corridor in its historic Grover community. In particular, preferably members of the board located in Ward 8.
Okay. You. And go ahead and
I'll give a brief overview of the
Please.
project.
please.
Sure, excellent. All right, well, thank you and good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Architecture Review Board. So this, as Director Boonich read in, is an initial review of plans and elevations for a microbrewery planned in Town Center. It's located at the southwest corner of West and Manchester. You can see here, it is just north of like the Office Park Shopping Center. It also has some residential surrounding it and then some vacant properties as well. The property is zoned the amended C8 and located in the workplace district. The governing ordinance has been provided in your packet. It's also currently under a site development review. The department took a few photos of the proposed project. Here we have the site plan. And so you can see that much of it is remaining the same. So the department took a few photos just to kind of put things into perspective. Oh, you can't see it real great.
Can you get just these lights off without shutting everything off?
Yeah. So this photograph was taken from the intersection of Manchester and West. And it's kind of at the corner where you're pulling onto West, looking in at the property. So just to give you some perspective, like if you step back just a little ways, there's a tree right here that blocks a lot of the view of the property. And if you walk further along, a lot of the front of the property is blocked by trees, with the most direct view being right here by the sign. So this property is currently the West County Feed and Supply Store for any of you that aren't familiar with it. Going the wrong way. All right, this is the rear of the property. And as you can see, this is the gravel drive that goes around the property. This is right where it abuts or connects to West Avenue. And is pretty tree lined. And also, there are trees obstructing the view from that property line there. So the plans, they show that the applicant intends to retain the existing one-story, 2,000 square foot commercial building. It's located on a 3-acre site, and kind of retaining the character of the structure, but is proposing substantial renovations inside to accommodate for the microbrewery. The exterior of the building will be painted and white, just for clarification on the color renderings that don't show a whole lot of color, there isn't. But will retain existing doors, windows, any of the siding they can, and add a new walk-in cooler and roof overhang, architectural roof shingles, as well as a vent, fascia, gutters, stuff like that. The plans also show new improvements on the site. You go towards the rear of the property here. Plans show a shipping container to the west of the primary structure, and in the rear of the property, there's a 10 by 40 foot covered patio area, 12 by 12 pavilion, and a 16 by 15 covered stage, along with shade sails, astroturf, and they're also going to be increasing the size of the parking lot to accommodate additional parking. And with that, there will be action required on this. The board will either have to approve with conditions, deny, or if you don't have enough information, you can continue to the next meeting. And with that, this concludes the department's presentation. However, I will turn this over to Director Vunich for a few comments from the department, for which we will then turn it over to the applicant, who has a brief presentation, and then myself, Director Vunich, or the applicant will be happy to answer any of your questions that you might have. And with that, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Please, go ahead.
Well, Mr. Chair, members of the board, good to see you tonight, and I appreciate your attendance at this very important architectural review board meeting. The owner of Good News Brewing Company is with us tonight, and that's Dan Tripp back there. And as Melanie mentioned, I'm sure he'll introduce himself better than I just did. And in conversation with Mr. Tripp, he's really here to answer any questions you may have regarding the business, future purchase of this property, and the success that the company's had at 4 other locations, all in St. Charles County, none here in St. Louis County. My intent tonight, Mr. Chair and members of the board, is just kind of give you an idea of where we started and how we got here tonight. And so sometimes economic development does a whole lot of work trying to get businesses to come to cities. In this particular case, Mr. Tripp contacted the city and said that he was interested in opening a sit-down restaurant that'll eventually have a microbrewery in association with it. Tonight, for all intents and purposes, you're seeing phase 1 of a 3-phase plan. And phase 1, as Melanie mentioned, is to renovate the existing building and then add amenities to the exterior area around the building, which includes a bocce court, an AstroTurf field for other games, a small stage, sunshade sails, pavilions, and then a couple of patios. And so the intent is to really renovate a good building for Gladstein, and then add a whole lot of features to the exterior to draw customers to the area. So Mr. Tripp contacted the city back in the end of March of this year. And for the most part, we were able to sequence things so that In May and June of this year, we spent a great deal of time amending the C8 Planned Commercial District Ordinance that St. Louis County had approved for West County Feed and Supply in 1986. We concluded all of that in June. And July, August, and the first part of September, we spent a lot of time working through the site development plan process. And that's the majority of the packet that you received tonight. That site development plan packet shows the improvements plan on the site itself, and then a lot of information relating to the pavilions, the other structures, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, etc. Thereafter, in September, we began the process with the Planning and Zoning Commission of reviewing and acting upon the site development plan. And that all occurred just this week at our October 7th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The site development plan and the accompanying additional information were approved. The site development plan process did identify correction that was needed to the amended site-specific ordinance. That'll be at our city council this coming Monday, October 14th, for a public hearing and first reading. And I believe Mr. Tripp has asked for a second reading that night. So if all goes well here, and certainly it's not intended to place pressure on you, this project from inception, March 22nd till about October 14th will be completed. The property is in our workplace district, so the use is consistent with that. And it was just kind of a sidebar to all of those. City does a lot of surveys asking residents, particularly in our town center, what they would like to see in terms of future uses. And I think at the top of that list has always been a microbrewery and sit-down restaurant. So it was very fortuitous that Mr. Tripp came to us, and we've done everything we can to expedite the review process here at the City of Wildwood. And as I say, tonight, it's your turn to take a bite at the apple. And so if there are any questions regarding the zoning process, the site development plan, anything along those lines, Ms. Ripito and I will be glad to try to answer them at this time. Thank you.
Anyone?
I've got a question. Maybe I missed it or whatever, but is there any kind of signage off of West Avenue and Manchester towards the front of this facility that's going to go up?
Yes, Mr. Parsons, there's an existing sign that's been there for a good period of time that advertises West County Feed and Supply. And that sign will be grandfathered, so to speak, and then Good News Brewing Company can just use the sign for the purposes of the freestanding component. And we also have an allowance, since they have 2 street frontages, for 2 wall signs.
Anyone else?
I said some clarification on the material colors. I'm just wondering, it mentions a new roof, but I don't really see anything for color. It appears that it's gonna be black by the rendering. And then the only other thing was the stage, the covered stage. I'm just wondering what color the walls are gonna be.
Well, Mr. Tripp can speak to colors, but he consistently said that he would want the roof to be black with the architectural shingles and then paint the building white. And then in terms of the stage, they're really not walls per se. The back is a half wall that's going to be made out. It's a wood material. And then we've asked Mr. Tripp concerns about noise and leaving the site and impacting nearby residences to put up some sound dampening type curtains or material. So from that perspective, I hope he's creative and finds something that complements the wood structure and the area.
So that's, I think, my biggest concern. Having lived, I'm very familiar with this area, having lived in Old Grover Estates and still owning property in Old Grover Estates. I'd be concerned about the sound, but also you mentioned the parking lot, and I'm familiar with the feed store, and it's a small parking lot currently, but how big is that going to be, and how are we abating any street parking or overflow into Old Grover Estates and the other neighborhoods across Manchester.
I'll start with the noise. That was one of the things that probably Good News Brewing Company in the city had to spend the greatest amount of time kind of working through in terms of new conditions. So the stage itself is 10 feet by 12 feet, so it's a small stage, 120 square feet. So if you think of it in the context of a 10 by 10 tent, you see at a lot of our city events, roughly the size of it. So 3 sides are to be either covered by a half wall and then the dampening curtains or shield, so to speak. And then Good News Brewing Company is supplying the amplification system so they can guarantee that, let's say, a single performer or a duet doesn't bring something that just rattles the area. Also, there are provisions relative to hours of operation. Good News Brewing Company is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. They are open on the weekends till 10 p.m. And then there was, I believe, one other thing we did relative, the orientation. So the opening of the stage to the, let's say, patrons is toward the southwest. So away from Old Towns of Windrush, Old Grover Estates, and Stone Mills, more toward the existing commercial area. That's Westridge Office Center 1 and 2. We're hoping, and as with any new use, that we've covered as many of the bases as we can. So that's the sound implications, and Mr. Tripp can go into more details regarding their hours of operation. In terms of parking, 31 spaces are planned, and that complies with the number of seats proposed inside the restaurant facility. And quite frankly, Mr. Redmond, I think what we end up seeing is just that gravel drive and some of the grass parking being used to alleviate, let's say, those weekend events that might just be greater than what we anticipated. Manchester Road will have restricted parking because it's a vertical curve, the bike lane and then the drive lane. And West Avenue is fairly narrow as well and doesn't have any on-street parking. So it'll have to sustain itself on what's available on the 3-acre site. And then as with Lafayette High School, if we run into problems with traffic migrating over into the residential areas, I'll just have to do some no parking.
Mr. Ritter has a question.
I want to express a concern about site lighting for the parking areas in particular.
Yes, sir. If you could provide a little more definition, Mr. Ritter, I'll do my best to either address it, or if we haven't addressed it, work with Mr. Tripp, who's been very cooperative to ensure that we don't have a problem.
Okay.
Be able to pull one of the diagrams, kind of show where it sits on the property or whatever. Can you just maybe pull that back up again and that may kind of help us visualize where some of those buildings and directions and so forth are. I thought you had one of the slides that.
I do. You just.
I think I can somewhat visualize it, but I likewise was just trying to make sure I understood. One that kind of had the picture, but it also had the neighborhood. I guess you might see around.
Oh, the map?
Yeah, I guess it might have been. No, I think I was thinking of it. I think it was one of the pictures. I don't remember. Yeah, that would do it. This one like this.
Presentations.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, there we go. So if I may, and I realize Mr. Ritter can't see, so if I'm correct, we're right here, this is all neighborhood here, so these things are all gonna be kind of pointing out that way in terms of the, yeah, give us a feel for where it's directional.
The intent is to place the stage in this general area here. And it'll be orientated this direction. So this is that two-story office building in Westridge Office Center 2. This is Rockwood Bank. And this is the complement of buildings that's part of what we call Westridge Office Center 1. So everything, the intent is to direct the music here. And as you know, we have another commercial center here, the YMCA. Our concern is Stone Mill, that's this project here. And then obviously, you know, Townsend, Windrush and Old Grover Estates.
Okay, and the wooded area would stay wooded up to the, or what, is that all, how is that zoned up above?
This was zoned by St. Louis County years and years and years ago to CA Plan Commercial District. And it was intended to be like a retail strip center.
So it would be okay, commercial.
Commercial. And this is a commercial lot as well. This was part of the overall lot that Rockwood Bank purchased. They built their bank building here and had this as leftover. It's been on the market for a long time. And then this is the Emeren UE small substation.
So essentially, anything is aimed at certainly away from anything residential and more toward commercial areas to the extent there is any overflow of sound.
And so the sound mitigation is on this side of the stage, this side of the stage, and on the back. So the intent was is to blanket this area as best as possible.
And on this side of the street, is this residential? What is on? How does that zoned on the other across the street?
Across the street, this is 2 vacant lots owned by the same person, Mary Kay Corsair, Hubert Corsair. They're commercial developers, excuse me. This is a rental property, single family dwelling. These are all intended to be commercial.
Commercial, okay.
Mr. Lobelli, I think you know, people building brick and mortar commercial buildings anymore is few and far between, at least not in the smaller settings. Amazon and the large big box stores have just kind of changed that landscape.
The fire department there is a pretty tight neighbor. They have anything to say about it or any objections or whatever, when they need to get out of there, it could be tight. I was thinking.
Pardon me. Mr. Parsons, we did do several mailings directly to all the households. We've not heard from the fire district, but certainly given your concern, I'll make contact with Deputy Chief Bradley. He kind of does all their logistics just to make sure they understand. And we always ask for comments too. Don't remember seeing them yet, but and then we have gotten one person that's spoken at all of the hearings, and this is that gentleman there. And he's expressed reservations about the sound, the noise. Because he says, and I don't doubt it, that he can hear the music that's played at the Wildwood Pub and Grill on Friday and Saturday nights.
And Mr. Ritter's question was about lighting. Well, exterior lighting, I would imagine.
Mr. Ritter, I thought it was sight lines.
Oh.
If you could correct me if I'm mistaken.
No, it was about site lighting.
You go into detail of what your question is?
No, I just don't see much of it described
I guess we're
for the
looking.
parking lots.
I mean, if we could maybe ask Mr. Tripp to give us an idea of what he's anticipating for site lighting, because that's, I think, what Mr. Ritter's talking about. Now, please, yes, definitely. Here we are talking around you and you're off to the side.
Right here, I got all the answers, to all your questions. I guess to talk about lighting, when I met with city staff, we talked about lighting and they said there was concerns about having too much lighting that would spill over in the neighborhoods and they felt like there was enough lighting, street lighting for the parking lot. So we did not plan for any lighting for the parking lot. For the patio area, there was the MEP drawing that were submitted to you. And there's a drawing of string lights over the artificial turf area. And obviously those would be turned off at the end of the night. As kind of mentioned earlier, so we're a small family-owned business. I started brewing beer in my basement, then my friend in Bible study, and we just started brewing beer together and hanging out. And that's why it's called Good News, because we're here to share good news. I'm still a teacher full-time. It's my day job. I teach every day, so I can't stay up past 10 o'clock because I got school the next day. So we're off on Mondays and Tuesdays because we need a day off as well. So we have very limited hours. It's kind of given in the craft beer industry to not really be open all day long. We're not a full service restaurant by any means. We do wood fired pizzas, and so it's a very simple menu. With the addition, you saw the site plan. The plan is to have food trucks on the weekends. Probably just one on Friday, maybe two on Saturdays, and one Sunday afternoon. Our other locations, we really don't do music except for our Defiance location. And when we do music, it's on a Sunday afternoon from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It's one or two person, the guitar, it's background music. We're not a concert hall. We don't attract rock music. If you think of that crowd who typically goes to bars who are playing rock music, they're not paying $7 for an IPA or a stout or a craft beer. We really don't even track that clientele. Our clientele is families friendly, dog friendly. We're a very, very family friendly place. We have designed this with the outdoor games, with the cornhole games. We're gonna do a 9 square in the air game for kids to play. We'll have the bocce ball courts. So the purpose is a place that parents can come and hopefully walk, park, talking about parking. At the last meeting, it's discussed that hopefully Wildwood will help out by putting a pedestrian crossing on Manchester to encourage more families to do this. So we want to be a good neighbor. We don't want to have any disturbances with that neighborhood because those are our customers. We want them to enjoy coming there. So we're going to be good neighbors. We're not going to be out partying late at night and being ruckus and having some loud music. The stage design, the color scheme's white and black. That's our, if you go to any of our locations, everything's white and black, unless it already had a different roof color from some of our other buildings. But yeah, it'll be black architectural shingles. All the pavilions will be metal roof, black, cedar toned, pressure treated lumbers is what we use. The back of the stage, our goal is to, we talked about getting an artist to donate that to Wildwood, do some type of artwork that would go through that process of submitting that. So we'd like to create something fun for the community there. So I guess I kind of talked about, you asked a question, maybe I'll clarify that as well. We're not brewing beer on site. You can see kind of from the plans. Stage 1 is just a brew pub. It's really a kind of, I call it a brew pub. There's gonna be a pizza oven inside, some picnic tables, and then the future goal is, if it grows and people respond, we will build a bathroom outside. Have you ever been to Frankie Martin's or 9 Mile Garden? They're 2 food truck parks. They have these like outdoor bathroom settings, and then we would do like a bigger pavilion that would kind of mimic what we've already kind of have with the bocce ball courts, the AstroTurf, but we would create one to the south of that, which would be a covered area for inclement weather. Yep.
Just had a quick question. The kitchen that's shown on the drawings, excuse me, is it your intention that'll be the same size kitchen even as you expand? So what you said earlier, it's gonna be a limited food service. You're not like a full menu restaurant.
Correct. We're not a full service restaurant. We don't have fryers. We don't have hoods. We have a wood fired pizza oven that has a single a single smokestack that exits straight out the building. And so we do a hybrid, it's gas and wood, but yeah, there's no, we do just a small, simple operation. With food trucks will help out. So if there's bigger, like I said, on the weekends, we'll have food trucks, so that gives people variety to eat. If someone had pizza on Wednesday, they probably don't want pizza on Friday. So if we have a taco truck, that can help out getting variety, more people there.
Is your fire suppression gonna be?
Nope, we don't need one. So,
Because
yep, we don't need one because it's UL rated. It's already been sent to the St. Louis County. They've approved it. The West, what's the fire district? Metro West has already approved it. So it's rated for that type of system.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I forgot to mention.
Please.
There's a kind of an island that's shaped on the, what I call the northwest corner of the existing building. That's all bicycle parking.
I was about to ask you if there's bicycle parking, because I would think that might be, considering the number of people who bike around, that would be a.
And the Defiance location, Mr. Tripp brought some photographs of it, and there's all these bicycles. It seemed like there were more bicycles than cars.
Yeah. We're right on the Katy Trail in Defiance, so we have a lot of our customers. And back to Wild, I approached Wildwood, we've been looking for years for places to be, but a lot of our existing customers are already in Wildwood. A lot of people from Wildwood will travel over to Defiance to ride the Katy Trail, so we already have a pretty strong client base over here.
The other thing you see though with some of those over along the Katy Trail, it's the biking, but there's a lot of motorbikes too. I mean,
Yeah.
to what extent the motorbike crowd might be there, and motorbikes make a little more noise too. I guess just observations or whatever for that clientele.
Well, so down in Defiance, there's two biker bars down there, and they don't visit us. Again, we're not that clientele. Yep, they walk in and the first question they ask is, do you have Coors Light? And, no, we don't. They want something, and I get it, our scrap beer, that's not what they want, so.
So it's a pizza, beer and soft drink place.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Tripp saying he's not competition to Larry's.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's not competition to Larry's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
No hamburgers.
no hamburgers,
That time.
no
Laptop grill.
upside grill, no.
What's the shipping container? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so the shipping container is storage.
The storage, okay.
I mean, 2,000 square feet is pretty small for a
okay.
pub. So it's gonna be storage for our outdoor games, our boxes of just supplies. We're not doing glass here, so we're not gonna have glass mugs. We're gonna have plastic just for the safety of kids running around, and AstroTurf. We don't want any glass breaking. So we just need storage of paper goods, and it'll have electric in there, and we'll have a little deep freezer in there, but mostly it's just storage. We like the shipping container. It kind of fits the brewery theme. It has this, we want this rustic industrial feel for what it is. And if you've ever been to our Defiance location or our Augusta location, we have two shipping containers. Our Augusta locations, we turn a shipping container into a bar to make it just have that cool vibe that it has. This one will not be a bar, but
You tend to be, and I realize you have to work with MSD or whatever, but it is kind of a low area. What's the issues with water and stormwater, and is there? I don't know if there is or not.
We are this close to finishing up with MSD. The only concern is the size of our sewer line that goes. We are adding sewer to it. But it's been all the water calculations have been completed. We do not need a bioretention system based off the amount of work that we were doing. Originally, we thought we were, and we had it all drawn up, and then we found out that we didn't need the whole bioretention system. If we expand a brewery in the future for phase 3, then that would probably need to be addressed, but that would be on the west side of the gravel lot. to that area.
And
That's
is it a
fixed.
gravel lot or paved? Because that's what I.
The new lot is gonna be paved.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And
The
that's
new-
why I wondered to what extent
Yep.
you might need impervious
Yep.
surfaces or anything like that, if you go to a.
No, we didn't do that. I think they said because it's less than 1 acre of disturbance is what what I gathered.
Anyone else have any, Mr. Ritter, I can't, with the three, oh no, I can see now. Give you that opportunity if you have anything further, Mr. Ritter? Anyone else here? Questions?
Nothing
think-
to add.
Sorry, nothing? Okay. Then what we need to do is if there are any concerns, otherwise we would recommend approval. Is that, am I correct? That's what the nature of the motion would be? Any concerns? Motion to recommend approval.
Motion.
Second, okay. Second. Did you capture that?
Yes,
Right.
was it Mr. Bartlesmeyer made the motion, Mr. Combs seconded it?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. You have the approval. Us. Few more
Thank you.
steps, whatever it takes, but
Yeah, one more step.
you're on your way.
One more step.
When did you open? When do we, got the ribbon?
2 weeks.
That's always the answer, 2 weeks.
That's the contractors. That's the contractors always tell me. They're in 2
Was
weeks.
this property for sale?
Yeah, it's been for sale for years.
Yeah.
It's been for sale for several years. I looked at it 2 years ago. I walked through the little car repair place right on up the street when it was for sale. We walked through that and was interested in that. We looked at the West County feed, but it was too high of a price, and then he dropped the price and then went right when one of our projects kind of failed, and then we looked back and so worked out pretty well. So it's been under contract. He's been very graceful too, because it's been under contract since April.
How far will you be from, for example, Mr. Cohen's project in town center?
Not that far.
The intersection of like Taylor and Main Street. How far is that? I don't know.
It's
It's
about a
about
quarter of a
mile.
Quarter of a mile.
Yeah, quarter mile, I would think.
What's that?
Well, from
what is that
Taylor, from
project?
the roundabout,
From the roundabout all the way.
maybe a
to the
little bit
schools.
more,
Yeah.
maybe a half.
Get her?
Yeah, half mile sounds about.
I was just wondering how.
It's walkable though, I mean, you got
It's definitely
sidewalks.
walkable. And for the project, you reckon, we did a full traffic study before we even, presented the plan.
Yeah. I was just trying to, in my mind, picture how far it would be, because
Right.
that's at least one of the areas people are gonna come is from probably that your development when it's built.
And then the city recently completed the new streetscape improvements. So there's sidewalks, and then if they put the crosswalk in as proposed, it'll be very pedestrian friendly from the project we're doing, as well as any other the neighbors in the near vicinity.
I know the bikes go all over the place, but are there bike lanes on the road there? There are, okay.
It's 1.3 miles from here.
Okay, that gives me a flavor. I was just curious, yeah.
And then, as you know, as part of Mr. Cohen, or maybe you don't, I apologize, but as Mr. Carr, part of Mr. Cohen's project, he's donating an orphan piece that's part of the tract of land to the city we're building for pickleball courts.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. All right, well, is there anything else on this? And I don't know of any other items. Take it back.
I could, please, Mr. Chair, just to give you an update on the sign reviews you did at the last meeting in September. The one regarding Village Plaza, they've postponed. I don't know if they're going to come back to the Board of Adjustment, but there was no action taken in September. And the assisted care facility, just here on the other side of the parking garage, they ended up modifying the proposal based upon the comments from the Architectural Review Board. And so they went with halo lighting or backlit, and they did pin lettering. And then based upon your recommendation again and the departments, the board granted the height increase for the lettering. So that all worked out real well. So thank you for your efforts in that regard. Board of Adjustment appreciates it. And just as a reminder, don't forget tomorrow, 5 o'clock at Community Park, we have our board and commission appreciation event. We have a special gift for all of you. So hope to see you there.
Quick question, who's the caterer?
Wildwood Pub and Grill, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think they've done it in the past, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since they've done it, but yes, we've used that. We kind of try to move around as best we can and, share the opportunity.
Sure, yeah. So if needed, our next meeting would be Thursday, November 14th. And I take it that there's no movement in term, because I was initially unclear how long we're still in office, but there's no movement in terms of appointing. Where does that stand in terms of appointing architects or whatever?
From the department's perspective, you should consider yourself needed through at least the end of this year, if not the first couple of months of next year.
Okay,
We're gonna do an advertisement for architectural architects. It's just gonna take some time, so we appreciate you hanging in there with us.
yeah, because I initially saw it on the website and hadn't gotten the notice yet. I thought, oh, I guess we're fired already. Then I sent a note. By the time I sent the note, I saw that the announcement come out to us that we had a meeting. So I just was curious with that, whatever. Anything else that we need to take up? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order. We have a Mr. Parsons and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate it very much. Hope to see you tomorrow.